I could keep repeating the phrase, do unto others as you would have them do unto you until I'm weary. But I can only learn to love my neighbor as myself if I learn to love God. And I can only love God if I learn to obey Him. Mere Christianity. In today's video, we will show how Lewis's writings in the book Mere Christianity can bring you closer to God. Each passage speaks to an important part that should be reflected upon and analyzed in your own heart. And for that, you need to watch until the end of this video to understand God's plans in your life. First passage. I am trying to prevent anyone from saying the really foolish thing that people often say about Him. I'm ready to accept Jesus as a great moral teacher, but I don't accept His claim to be God. That is the one thing we must not say. A man who was merely a man and said the sort of things Jesus said would not be a great moral teacher. He would either be a lunatic on the level of the man who says he is a poached egg, or else he would be the devil of hell. You must make your choice. Either this man was and is the Son of God, or else a madman or something worse. You can shut him up for a fool, you can spit at him and kill him as a demon, or you can fall at his feet and call him Lord and God. But let us not come with any patronizing nonsense about him being a great human teacher. He hasn't left that open to us. He did not intend to. In Matthew 16:15-17, when Jesus asked His disciples, "Who do you say that I am?" Simon Peter answered, "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." Jesus praised Peter's response, indicating that it was revealed by God and true. Jesus leaves no room for a middle ground. If He is not who He says He is, then His words cannot be merely seen as good moral advice, but rather as those of someone out of touch with reality or even malevolent. Thus, the choice we face is to accept Jesus as Lord and God, reject Him as a madman or a diabolical figure, or attempt to fit Him into a category He Himself does not allow, like merely a human moral teacher. Lewis challenges us to make this conscious and clear choice. So, what is your choice? If you have any doubts in your heart, this is the time to reflect. There can be no middle ground. Is Jesus, in your opinion, your Lord and God? Reflect. Second passage. Imagine yourself as a living house. God comes in to rebuild that house. At first, you might understand what He is doing. He's fixing the plumbing and stopping leaks in the roof, and so on. You knew these jobs needed to be done, and so you are not surprised. But soon, He starts knocking the house down in a way that hurts terribly and does not seem to make sense. What on earth is He doing? The explanation is that He is building a completely different house from the one you thought, adding a new wing here, putting an extra floor there, raising towers, making courtyards. You thought you were being made into a decent little house, but He is building a palace. He intends to come and live in it. Before we start the explanation, please leave a like and subscribe if you find it necessary, and share it with someone who needs this type of content. At first, we might understand some changes God makes, such as fixing obvious problems. But then God starts making deeper and more painful changes, which we cannot understand. It seems like He is destroying our house instead of fixing it. But the truth is that God has a greater plan for us. He is not just fixing an old house, He is building a palace. He wants to transform our lives into something far grander than we can imagine. Sometimes the changes He makes can be difficult to accept, but it's because He is taking us to a better place, a place where He Himself wants to dwell. The idea is that God is not just fixing our superficial problems. He is transforming us into something truly glorious, something that reflects His own greatness. As we know, God made man in His own image and likeness in the beginning. However, when we went to earth, there are so many things that influence humans, it's amazing how we haven't been extinct by our own greed and selfishness. But we Christians are still His hope, for God is connected to us like to no other. One way or another, His love reaches us, whether in good times or bad. When we seek Him and do His will, He will consequently intervene, fix what needs to be fixed, and then transform what was beautiful into something magnificent. Are you ready to change your entire life for God? This is perhaps the most important decision anyone can make, but also the hardest to maintain. We think it's just about handing it over to Him and He will take care of the rest. But what if we don't take care of our character and maintain our faith? What happens? I'll ask again, are you ready to change your entire life for God? Let me know in the comments. Third passage. To be a Christian means to forgive the unforgivable because God has forgiven the unforgivable in you. Being a Christian is more than just believing in God. It's living according to the example He set for us. When God forgives us, He grants us a pardon we don't deserve. He shows us compassion and love despite our failures and mistakes. This means following that divine example. It means forgiving others, even when it seems impossible. It's about extending grace and mercy to those who have hurt us, just as God did for us. It's a reminder that forgiveness is a powerful act of love and freedom, both for the forgiver and the forgiven. And this idea is fundamental to the practice of Christianity in daily life. Lewis once said, "If you want a religion to make you feel really comfortable, I certainly don't recommend Christianity. It's very easy to say you love God, that you believe in Him, that you have faith. The hard part is living under His will, being, truly, in His image and likeness. The world has shaped people as they are today. God left it up to us, with all our freedom, to want to return to Him in the way He created us, in truth, better than Him. Have you ever thought that this is how we want it to be with our children? We want them to be better than we are or have ever been. We want them to triumph and succeed in life, to become great professionals in their respective fields. This is how God sees us, this feeling called love. It came from Him. Since He loves us much more than we can imagine, it's not hard to believe that He wants us to be better than He is. In the Bible, there is a passage that well portrays the essence of this phrase in Ephesians 4:32. Be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other, just as in Christ God forgave you. This reinforces the importance of mutual forgiveness among Christians, mirroring the forgiveness we receive from God through Christ. Well, do you need to forgive someone in your life? Tell us in the comments. Someday it might be easier to forgive than you think. Fourth passage. We can indeed be sure that perfect chastity, as with perfect charity, will not be attained by merely human efforts. You must ask for God's help. Even after you have done this, it may seem for a long time that no help or less help than you need is being given. It doesn't matter. After each failure, ask for forgiveness. Get up and try again. Very often, what God first helps us with is not the virtue itself, but just this power to keep trying again. Even if it seems difficult, or that we're not progressing as quickly as we'd like, we must not give up. God gives us the power to always try again, even if the virtue itself seems far off. This is a reminder that the process of spiritual growth is a continual journey, and each attempt brings us closer to God in the virtue we seek. One of the greatest examples of this was Moses. Moses led the people for 40 years on a journey toward the Promised Land. During that time, they faced various hardships and trials. At many times, the people of Israel failed and sinned against God, disobeying His commandments. But Moses always interceded for them, seeking forgiveness and divine guidance. Even when it seemed that God was not acting in the expected way or that help was slow in coming, Moses persisted in his faith. After each failure and challenge, Moses continued to seek God's guidance and forgiveness, getting up and leading the people forward. Even amid difficulties and failures, it's essential to continue trusting in God, seeking His help, and being persistent on the spiritual journey. Moses teaches us that even when it seems we are far from the virtue we seek, we must persist in our effort and trust in God's help to guide us on the right path. We should be more like Moses, have faith above all, and be persistent in our path. I can do all things through Him who strengthens me. Philippians 4:13. We can, I believe in that. Pray, ask for strength. Don't be afraid to open up to God. He will guide you silently to your destination, but only those willing to endure the difficulties along the way will reach it. The fifth is perhaps the hardest to understand or achieve. Fifth passage. If I find in myself a desire that no experience in this world can satisfy, the most probable explanation is that I was made for another world. When we feel an intense desire that nothing in this world can satisfy, it indicates that we were made for something beyond this life. Lewis is pointing to the idea that the deepest human longings, such as true love, lasting peace, and spiritual fulfillment, cannot be fully realized in this world. These desires point to a greater reality, one for which we are destined. Ecclesiastes 3:11. He has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also set eternity in the human heart. Yet no one can fathom what God has done from beginning to end. Complements the idea that He is suggesting our soul yearns for something transcendent and eternal. It's a message that resonates with many, especially in moments of questioning and searching for a deeper purpose in life. Perhaps you have realized that your purpose on earth might be to help others become like you. By reaching this level of spirituality, we can finally cease to be slaves to worldly desires, and when our time comes, we will depart in peace. But if you stop to think about it, this is something so rare nowadays. Because to reach this point of spiritual satisfaction, one must have dedicated a lot to the satiation of their spirituality. A person has to immerse themselves in the teachings of Christ and drink every drop. It is indeed very difficult. Do you have the desire to feel so content with your walk with God that you reach this point? Reflect deeply. We are merely flesh. Our soul will live forever. It needs attention. If needed, watch again. It will always be here for your studies. Thank you for watching this far.